Welcome to Kaizen with Luca. Going to be a little bit of a melancholy, not really melancholy, but like a more laid back, chill episode because I am feeling quite fatigued. I am not going to lie. Spent the whole day yesterday, for the most part, building a deck outside. And that was quite the strenuous task. So I'm not going to have as much energy today as I normally do, but even when your legs are feeling like they are jelly, we still show up and we show up for ourselves. So that's not going to be the topic of today's episode, though. Today's topic is about being your own biggest fan. And we also have one more subscriber house to build. And then, as we get more, we will start filling out the rest of them here. So, seems like we're starting our video off on the nighttime here. But we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we gotta put our house right here and get some dirt down. And I'll have to go get some more, but just so we can build out this little area. So to start, I am a full-on believer that being your own biggest fan is so important, because if you don't have that not confidence in yourself, but that belief in yourself that you can go and do things, then you become so reliant on others that it becomes hard to do things that are perceived hard, or do these things that require so much community to do. And when you right now I'm currently practicing this, and I won't lie, I mean it's very hard to be your own biggest fan, because there's times where you doubt yourself, and sometimes you just want to hear that you're on the right path, and maybe you're not always on the right path, and you have to kind of figure out what all those things look like. And the example of this for me is this exact channel. Like, I'm building this because I decided that I wanted to be in my own corner. And although I have a support base, although I have people that I can turn to, and people that I know that will be there to support me, we are all our own harshest critics. We tend to put more, I guess, pressure on ourselves than we do externally. Like, not everybody thinks in the same way that we think. So when it comes down to believing in ourselves, it can be hard, because we know ourselves fairly well, I would say. Like, I think I know myself at this point really well, and you will get to know yourself extremely well too, and you'll kind of continue. You'll get that fan cheering for you. You may not feel like you have a fan cheering for you right now, but eventually we will get there, and eventually you will get that feeling that you are always in your corner. So when you feel, when you believe in yourself, and you just are absolutely all for the ideas that you have, you're just able to accomplish so much more. And this is a real life example here, would be our good buddy Gary V. Gary V is a great example of believing yourself. I think he preaches this idea a ton on his channels, and that idea of self-belief became, or has to come before the external validation. You have to believe that you can do something before anybody externally tells you that you can do something. So a lot of people, I think, do the inverse, where they think that they need the external validation first in order to feel like they're doing something right, whereas it should be the opposite. Like you should know that you are doing something right, and then everything else follows. So where does this actually mean? And like this whole idea actually, stems from Gary Vee, because he believed it himself, right? He did all the things that he wanted to do with his wine business, and talking about wine. I mean, he was ahead of the game, really, in that space. So, and I'm sure he doubted himself, but like sometimes you just have those feelings, and you're able to continue to capitalize on those things, and it can just be so difficult when you feel like just nothing's going your way. But when you are your biggest fan, it doesn't matter which way things go, because you will always be certain that like you will figure it out. So not in practice, but like most people are waiting for someone else to believe in them first. And that could be a manager, it could be a parent, an audience, it could be a number on a screen. But external validation is a consequence of self-belief. It's not something that just happens, right? The people who seem impossibly confident are not confident because good things happen to them. It's just because they commit to themselves before anything has happened yet. So they are able to... okay, I ended up doing this a little differently. So, for example, I think a great example of this is, I was just talking about this not long ago, in my own life. I think a lot of us going through getting jobs, right? I always talk about job interviews, but I think job interviews are really one of the things that are super daunting for a lot of people. Even if you have a ton of experience, it can be super stressful to go through a job interview. And the idea is that, like for me to get my current role, I, number one, made it my mission. I gave myself a timeline. I said, I need to do this. This needs to happen within at least the next year. And I will do anything I can to make sure that I get this role that I want in this specific industry. And I set out. I knew that I was capable of getting a job in this type of industry. I knew that I had the skill set. I knew that I could do, whatever I set my mind to. And that's not because this was before Kaizen. This was before, doing the challenges. This was before really any of those ideas that I talk about. But I just had such motive to do it, and I didn't really need to make more cobblestone slabs. I just had such a motive to go out there and achieve this goal, because I knew that once I was able to get in there, once I was able to do it, I would be set. Like, I would not have have to worry about anything. And eventually I was given, the opportunity, and I walked in there, and I knew that I could do those things. I knew that I could do hard things. And I had an idea of making sure, I knew the values, I knew the mission, I knew everything that I needed to know. And I just gave off a confidence. And that confidence, number one, actually, a lot of confidence just stems from how you dress. So if you do have a job interview, right, you should always dress to impress, because subconsciously, when you dress better, you are going to perform better. So even though this was an interview that I did over like a Zoom call or a Teams meeting, I still showed up in a full suit. Like, even though I'm just sitting at my desk right where I'm sitting right now, I still showed up in a full suit, because when you feel good, when you look good, you feel good, is I guess that saying. So I did just that, and I had my notes with me. I made sure that I covered all my bases and did my research and went from there. And that is all just because I had that self-belief that I could do this interview. So something that I want you to apply today, because as you guys know, I've been giving you homework. So your homework for today is think about the version of you that would exist if you if you were your own biggest fan, but not like an arrogant fan, not like that like overly cocky type idea. This is just somebody that supports you like unconditionally. You're just always going to be there. That's what we mean. Not like somebody that's going to be going and saying like, oh, I can go and do whatever. I'm sure that if we were to go out there and if you set your mind to becoming the president, you'd have to kind of be pretty, I guess, cocky in order to be like achieving a goal like that. But not like the arrogant type of fan. We want the just somebody that's fully in your corner. And what would that person do differently today? So if what would the version of you be if you were your own biggest fan, and what would that person do differently today? So think about that, and after you thought about that, just go out there and do that thing. Do the thing that if you were your own biggest fan, go and do it. I think there's a saying out there that like it was something about like entrepreneurship or something. And a lot of those people that are entrepreneurs, there's like a statistic or something out there that talks about how I don't even know what the full statistic is. It's just talking about entrepreneurs and how they fail and whatever, but like also 80% of people or 90% of people have a job idea, and a majority of them don't take it. So if you were your biggest fan, you would just take that risk and take that leap and go and do it. Why am I not getting wheat from these? But do that thing. If you were your own biggest fan, do that thing. This, for me, is me being my biggest fan and doing the thing. And I'm looking at these videos. I know there's not a lot of people watching these, but eventually somebody will. Eventually somebody will find these that this resonates with, and we can start putting their house in here. So I think I'm going to wrap this episode up here, and you are going to think about the version of you that would exist if you were your own biggest fan, and what would you do differently, and what are the things that you would do, and go and do one of those things. So I hope to see you tomorrow. And if you're kind of lurking and watching these videos, definitely subscribe. And if you want to join the Kaizen journey and do the Kaizen sprint, then please fill out the interest form in the description below. So have a great day, have a great evening, have a great night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Direction changes everything.